Hi, everybody. Namaste. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. My name's Sadhana. Hello. If you're just finding your way here, I'm an intuitive reader and healer. And Fridays, I talk about the tarot, talk about reading tarot and cards and other um, just things that make me feel inspired. And so today, I am carrying on a conversation from last week where I started to share. Sorry, last week we were looking at the tarot deck, Journey of the Sacred Bee. And this is a series of decks created. I'm just drawing a blank on the creator's name. Kelly Burton, right? Kelly Burton. And so Kelly has been working on this series. There's a third deck that's coming out. I believe the Kickstarter is starting at the end of the month, and it's called Keeper of the Sacred Bee. So it's another tarot deck. So this is what we did last week. And if you're interested, you can go back to last week's discussion and look at the tarot deck. But this week, we're going to look at the Oracle deck. And this is called Wisdom of the Sacred Bee. So yeah, I am really looking forward to this particular discussion and how I might work with this and why this oracle deck um, works so beautifully with tarot. And it it and I think not just with the corresponding tarot deck, but I think one of the potentials of this oracle not only is the suits, but the cleverness of the keywords and how the keywords are intimately connected to lessons and teachings in the tarot. I really think that's one of its strengths. And so what I would like to do with you is to go through the suits and to talk about the cards, the lessons of the cards. And I thought at the end today we could do a reading with the tarot and the oracle. Okay? Yeah. So hello, Donna. Just giving myself a stretch here. I've been in front of the camera now for a bit. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to start with the suit of fire. Hello, Dee. Welcome. And in the suit of fire, I'm going to read with you from the creator's words, but like all suits of fire, it is one of inspiration. We can think of the element of fire as the inspiration that initiates and stimulates our passions. Think of fire as our drive, creativity, and inner genius. The principle of fire is I will. It's inside of you by nature. Fire is the element associated with the archetypal world. Now, I want to add to that. So, the element of fire I really see as the one that is directly connected to our dharma, to our life path, to our inspiration, really for who we are. And this also connects very deeply to our solar plexus chakra, where we go through the experience of identification. And we begin with close identification with the ego, and then we move into a greater place of trust. And so I thought I'm just going to really think about Manipura chakra and the lessons of Manipura chakra as we go through the deck. I do have the guidebook handy, and I may refer to it. I have put the cards in order that they appear in the guidebook. Isn't that funny? I don't know where I put the guidebook, so maybe I won't refer to it. Here it is. Best laid plans on. Yeah. Want to hear a funny story? Yesterday, I went to the bakery and I got some soup, and I was reading at the store, and I put my paper bag with my soup and a delicious savory scone into the bag, and the soup leaked, and my Robin Wood taro became curried lentil soup Robin Wood taro. So I wiped it off, but I still have to go back and clean it again. Anyway, I never put food in my taro bag, and I don't know why I did. I was in a rush yesterday. Yeah. Anyway, fire, hot soup. Why am I telling you this? Digestion, food. So this is also the suit where we digest food and where fire helps to transform food. And there's also a very powerful connection to the physical body here. Okay, so we see the element sign on the top of the card and the clever keywords and the colors as well too. So if you look at the color palette, they're not all orange and red. There's different shades of color, but I think the interaction of colors works really well. So I'll also kind of put cards, I'll sort them by suit as we're going through. Who else is here? Oh, hello, Blair. Welcome. Hello, hello. And I saw Costas. So that is Saskia. Saskia is here. Welcome to you. Okay. Anybody else that I missed? I don't think so. Okay, I'll try to greet you as you come in. And then, so we go from inspiration to passion. I really like the way that the keyword passion is used. So this is kind of like a two of fire, a two of cups energy. And if you're following along in the Margaret Peterson tarot, you'll know how important the relationship is between the two of cups and the two of fire. And so this with the two B's, face to face, the keyword, the colors, it's really beautiful. And then we have this whole idea of optimism and positivity. One thing I haven't done with this deck is look to see the opposites. And I know in some oracle decks, I'm thinking of like the Oracle of Oddities is one that comes to mind. The pairs of opposites are really important. And I love that Kelly Burton has done a wide range of emotions, right? So there's lots of light and there's lots of shadow as well too. And then we go to innovation. So innovation really speaks to our creativity. It speaks to what we're going to do with our passion. So part of the process of working with the element of fire is not just to illuminate the fire, to feed the fire, but we also have to do something with it. And so innovation speaks to the beginning of action, right? And action is really important. And it's almost as if she she builds on the concept. So the energy of fire begins to grow, and then we see ambition. And you can feel from inspiration to passion to optimism to innovation to ambition, the energy of fire beginning to escalate. Okay. So I want to continue to work with that, but I had another thought. If you're working with the guidebook, the cards are neither numbered nor is the guidebook in alphabetical order. Okay, and I know that's a problem for some people, but I just thought I thought I would mention that. Now we go to sensuality. So it's almost as if this is a series of cards, but we have something here that is really kind of beautiful. So sensuality doesn't necessarily speak just to um, passion and sex and so forth, but to an appreciation of the senses and the fullness of our of sensual experience. So the ability to feel, the ability to taste. You know, there's just if you ever put a blindfold on or closed your eyes and tasted something. So sensuality is it's a really important aspect of understanding the senses. And as we evolve and as we begin to deepen our understanding and I suppose lessen our responses to the senses and the senses begin to control us less and less, we really appreciate sensuality a lot more. Um, there's so much I want to talk about, but let's just go on. Okay. Another thing in this deck um, that I want to address is the sacred geometry. The sacred geometry. So in the background of most of these pictures, there is an awareness, if not intent. It can be in the background. Sometimes it's right in your face. There is, there is a layer of sacred geometry that almost creates a vibration, a heightening vibration of the meaning of the card. And if you haven't studied sacred geometry, I don't think you completely need to know what it means, but it's one of the aspects of this deck that if you wanted to do a bit of a deep dive and to so for example, we have the flower of life in the background of this particular card. And something that's really important to Kelly was that the connection with sacred geometry and this whole deck representing pi. And here we see that golden ratio again represented by this shape here. I'm just seeing so many things in this card. Do you see the two ribbons on the side and the almost like the fence that is being created around. There's a whole bunch of responses here. We have a mirror image of the black. Uh, how many? I don't know how. Sorry, I can't count quickly how many sides this shape is. So we have above and below. We have the border on the outside, and then we have the golden ratio in the background, right, as a shell or maybe a piece of amylite or something like that. So there's a lot that's going on in the cards. And I think depending on the question and depending on what you are reading, you're going to pick up on different stuff. But I just want to go to this one and see what the intention was from the creator. The many chambers of the nautilus shell protect a diamond resting at the very center. There are mental and physical aspects to feeling safe and secure. We need a protected habitat with shelter from safety and harsh elements. Having peace of mind and being protected from predators is important, but we can't lose the courage to go beyond the protective barriers when necessary. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, so I want to connect this to the element of fire, and I'm struggling a little bit. So protection and the element of fire. So what happens when the element of fire gets involuted is when the fire begins to dim, we kind of lose our flame. Anyway, I'm just having a hard time with this one connecting to the element of fire, but maybe I will come back. Okay. And this happens a lot in tarot decks, because creators have specific intentions, right? This also looks like the ear around the brain as well, too. And we could use the diamond as the pineal gland, which leads us into the next card as well, too. But yes, thank you for that, Blair. Here we go. This is Metatron's cube, right? Metatron's cube containing the potential of, it's much like the Sri Yantra, right? So Metatron's cube contains infinite potential. And the little pine cone, maybe a hemlock cone or whatever this cone is the said to be the shape of or what the pineal gland actually looks like. Inner genius. So what the first card of this suit is inspiration. And in order to understand our inspiration, in order to connect with or respond to our dharma, we need to be able to listen. to listen to our inner genius, to listen to our intuition. And while I might not necessarily see this as a fire card, because when I think of Agnya chakra, when I think of the third eye chakra, this is kind of beyond all of the elements. So I might have put this card, if I were creating a deck, in the ether suit. But yeah, I can work with this because without the connection of these two cards, it's not possible to follow our dharma. So yeah, beautiful. It's a beautiful card. A few more here. So we also have co-creation connected to the element of fire. And co-creation is an experience that we begin to feel in the element of water, in the waters of the second chakra. And I think co-creation is also a lesson that, um, and this is a beautiful card because remember, this is the story of the bees, and the story is the story of the interaction of humans and the land and the bees. And the whole idea of reciprocity is very, very important in this deck, right? So co-creation and reciprocity, we begin to understand in the waters of the second chakra. Um, and I suppose we respond to that. But we need to be mindful too with the element of fire that ego doesn't take over and that this lesson is fully integrated. I'm just reading your comments about how you sleep. That's gorgeous. Now, I on this card, as far as I know, there is no fire symbol. So the next card in this suit is courage. I have so many things that arise in this. I see in this. This is a succulent plant, and I don't know why I'm saying that. Um, courage. Courage is, I feel like courage, more than anything in the suit of fire, is a vehicle that is required to keep us moving forward. In the element of fire, it's very easy to let the fire go dim. You know, if somebody puts us down or something doesn't go quite right, sometimes we can intentionally, or maybe not intentionally, let our fire dim and our fire can start burning very, very low. And courage is absolutely essential in the element of fire to keep on going, right? To keep creating, to keep feeling inspired, to keep moving forward. So this is a really important card here. Thank you. Let me just fix that. Okay, that should be better. Sometimes this happens when I go from broadcast to broadcast. Um, I forget to change the settings. Let's just go to Blair's comment. With the pomegranate, all I think of is Hades tricking, and I believe it was Persephone in hell with the pomegranate seeds. Yes. So, this particular card, of course, is going to connect us to High Priestess energy, and we don't tend to think of the High Priestess as being connected to sensuality as far as sexuality goes. But there's something here that I was trying to say, and I don't know. And Blair, that's totally cool. Like, right? I want everybody to be open and free to chat with whatever's coming to mind in these conversations because it's important. But the whole idea with the high priestess and sensuality is that in order to tap into our inner wisdom, in order to be able to listen and connect to spirit, to hear the messages, to be our own inner high priestess, there's a process of amplifying the energy of each of the senses. And so what happens is we learn to listen well, we learn to understand the power of touch. And there's this process where we go beyond the senses. And once we become great communicators, then maybe the clairaudience will develop. Once we become good seers, once we learn to witness, then our inner vision will begin to develop and so forth. So I don't know. There's a lot that we can glean from these cards, and should they come up in connection with um, certain tarot cards, I think they're going to invite lots of conversation. So the other thing here too is that we have fire, right? And pomegranate's high priestess, of course, is water and moon. So yeah, and then there's 3 more in the suit of fire. And this is an interesting card. And I suppose this card is a response to our fire getting out of control. This feels a lot like, we see the chains in, ooh, I just thought of something else. And I shared this with, in the last hour as well, too. I just happened to have this deck on my table. Interesting. Okay, so this card here with the chains, this deck would look amazing with the Osho Zen Tarot, by the way. Just saying. I haven't done it, but it would look great. This is the Emperor card in the Osho Zen. It's called the Rebel. And the thing I like about this is that the Emperor is one who bursts beyond constraints. I tend to think of the Emperor as the box, the container, the structure, the authority. But in this particular deck, the Emperor is bolder and braver and goes beyond. And so the energy of fire is not contained. The energy of fire is limitless and expansive within the Emperor. And so what I see here in this particular card is that, yeah, sometimes we put these restraints on. We put the restraints on and we put them in place so that we don't get carried away. Yeah. Be wisdom. Be wisdom and redemption. Okay, I'm going to go to the guidebook for these two. Be wisdom and redemption. These are the final. So the first card in this suit is inspiration, and the last card is redemption. But I wanted to go to the be wisdom card because this feels very Kelly Burton. And I'm going to meet Kelly Burton I'm going to give you the date. Where's the date? I'm going to be on Gerald's channel. So Gerald is Tarot Stash. And I need to remember to put a link below. It should be, Isn't that funny? I thought I had it on my calendar. Anyway, eventually I will put the link below. So I'm going to be on a chat with Jilly, who is Little Zen Crone, as well as Gerald and the creator of this deck, Kelly Burton. And we're going to be talking about the tarot deck, but I'm sure there'll be some conversation about this deck as well, too. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I've got the order wrong. So redemption isn't the final card. Constraints is the final card. I'm just wondering if there was an intention between like the first and the last card. So that's interesting that we have inspiration and restraints as the first and the last. But I wanted to share with you the Be Wisdom card. So let's go to that. Intertwined serpents mimic the double helix of DNA, symbolizing wisdom passed down through the ages. A hive acts as one superconscious mind. Everything the bee does is to increase the expansion of their species. By doing so, they help expand life on the planet. Bee wisdom is an intricate intelligence of the hive that spans far beyond the life of the bee itself. A single bee only lives a few weeks, and a queen may live quite a few years, but the species continues by the old queen swarming with her workers and allowing a new queen to produce her own brood. Their lives are dedicated to the survival of the whole, but the bee wisdom knows that the life of each individual is as important as the whole colony. I'm seeing a phoenix here. Yeah, there's a phoenix rising in the redemption card. So, oh gosh, imagine a reading where this came up with the judgment card. That would be super powerful. The seed of life is the basic template for all creation, and in the center lies a faceted diamond that can be seen through the flames. The bee witnesses the act of redemption as the phoenix bird rises. That's cool. So the other thing too, much like now, do you have this tarot deck? Because this is a deck that is intended to work with crystals. And this is another layer of this deck as well too. So if you are a crystal person, there is an energy of crystal magic that works with this deck as well too. Okay. So this is the suit of inspiration. And yeah, the suit of fire. Obviously, I can't spend that much time on every suit, or we'll be here all day. Okay, and then we go to the suit of water. The suit of water. And so this is the suit of the emotional. And we have intuition and harmony. Now, I guess this is a really important part of the discussion of this particular deck, in that the hexagrams, the hexagonal shape of the hive itself, is connected to peace and to harmony. The energy of six representing beauty and peace and harmony, and the fact that the whole energy, and I know all bees do not create hives. Some bees live in the earth, they live in the dirt, they create little burrows in the earth and so forth. But there's something about the beauty of the hexagram and the harmony and the harmonious connections that the bees create. Yeah. It's a really beautiful deck. I think Kelly's done something pretty special here. And then we have devotion. So we're in the suit of water. We're in so we're kind of, we're in this we're in the second chakra, we're a little bit in the heart chakra with this energy, and we've seen other cards that are going to connect really beautifully with the devotion card. So this looks much like a Two of Cups, but we also saw, sorry for the reach across, right? So there's definitely going to be some interactions here with fire and water, devotion and passion. And then there was another card that I felt was really connected to this as well too. Perhaps I don't know which one it was. Anyway, so yeah, so this is something that I really love in a deck when I know that I was talking about opposites before earlier maybe, but yeah. Now this is interesting. So this feels very bhakti to me, bhakti yoga, devotional yoga. So we have reverence, devotion, and reverence. These are pretty powerful words. And then we have a card that feels a lot like the Four of Cups. Hello, Joseph. Welcome. And I think Dee's concern is one that we all kind of feel and we're all aware of. So it's what I want to say, reciprocity, responsibility. We need to be responsible. The whole idea of stagnation, of course, is going to destroy anything. And um, if you're interested, I spent a bit of time talking about the Four of Cups in the last video. I know you're not all watching Margaret Peterson, but this is this definitely is going to take us to the energy of the tarot deck. So that's really beautiful. And then we go to the subconscious, right, which is an important part of the element of water and the study of water and how our emotions move through us, the aspect of shadow and working with the element of water, diving deep into the waters and perhaps allowing our octopus to emerge from the cave and not just emerge to feed, but to emerge to explore and to understand and to learn and all of that. We have a card of overwhelm, which we all know too well, right? And so maybe, I don't know, does that feel like a Seven of Cups energy? There's so many places where these keywords and cards can interact with the tarot deck. And then stagnation. So stagnation, which might be created by a Four of Cups. Also, there could be some connection here as well too. The key word with this echinacea card is indifference. And if you are aware of the flowers on the card as well too, you might be able to bring in a little bit of plant medicine to this deck. So these are both really valid comments with that Four of Cups card. So this is an interesting pair. So this is the dreams and overwhelm. And I know both of these aspects we can talk to with the energy of the Seven of Cups. This card, look at this. So we have a statue. We have cement. So we have kind of a stagnant energy creating melancholy, tranquility, and then compassion, which is a very heart chakra kind of card. Compassion is, of course, it's the most important medicine of healing the heart. And that's it. So that's it for the suit of water. And so we started, I believe, with the emotional and ended with compassion. So yeah, and you can see the palette for this suit is kind of turquoise and blue with a little bit of purple. There are 5 suits in this deck, and this suit of air, of course, will correspond to the element of air. So we have possibilities as the first card. Let's see what the last card is. Let's look at this in range of emotion. So we have evolve. So the range of this suit goes from possibilities to evolve, which is powerful, especially if you read the suit of air as one of connecting us to spirit, right? Connecting us to transformation. Yeah. Okay, so hi, Elizabeth. Welcome to you as well, too. So we have possibilities, mental clarity, and put some back at the bottom, insight. So it seems like there might be a little bit of overlap. And maybe these cards would create confirmation. You know, sometimes in a reading we need confirmation. We need a word to help us to, you know, we also have the inner genius card. So one of the things that I haven't worked with this deck a lot, but I would want to do is to sit down and go, okay, what is the different intention between the inner genius card and the insight card, and sit and work with that a little bit, just because that's in the element of fire and this is in the element of air. So both, these are the active suits, right?
masculine energy suits. We have knowledge, so it'll be interesting to see if we have a wisdom card. I don't believe we have a wisdom card. So one of the things that I work with in the element of air is that range of development from knowledge to wisdom, from book knowledge. So let's do this. So we have knowledge and then unfolding and then denial. This sounds like, I might put this actually interesting. And we can't separate, you hear me say this all the time, we can't separate this into neat little boxes, but this is a stage of grief. And it does also have to do very much with the heart chakra. So, and here we are in the element of air, but the element of air is the heart chakra. So there we go. Okay, talk myself out of that one. Then we go to anguish, mindfulness. Oh, okay. So let's go back to the suit of water, because where was the Buddha card? Okay, so mindfulness is with the dandelion image. Compassion is with the Buddha. Okay. Right. And then we also have the intuition card. So I think this is a deck that you want to probably, now Kelly also, are you aware Kelly also has journals, and I did purchase them so I could look at them. These are online journals. And what she offers in these journals, I could do a share screen maybe. I could do a share screen. Let me find a page or two that I can. Just let me pause. Got to make sure I do this right. Share screen. Oh, sorry, I can't do it. I remember now I have to set something up. Okay. Anyway, so you, in this little book here, you have a description of the card, and then you have a message. I guess you have a message and then you have some advice. Okay, so you have an oracular message and then you have a suggestion about what to do with this message. So in the journal, you have a colored picture of this, and then you have this, and then there is space to write. And also in the journal, there are recipes. There's other things as well too. It's an online journal. I believe it costs $18 US, and it's available on her website, which is linked in the description box below if you're interested. Powerful card, breakthrough. Breakthrough. And I don't know if a bee would survive that kind of a breakthrough. Connection. So I am very curious about this one, because here we are in the element of air, the element of mind, the element of voice. Well, actually, I don't need to go to the book. Okay, so sometimes I need to walk through what it means. Oh, TLW book has pictures, not too much guesswork. Okay. Thank you, Dee. So what I'm saying is I'm just connecting air to voice, also to mind, and the power of connection. And there's something about the poppies here as well too that feels really important. And then we also have these, to me, I don't know if these are dendrites in the brain. And there's lots of different ways we could look at this too, but this also feels like some kind of chains of DNA too. Yeah, I really do like this deck. Transcendence. And then we have a pendulum. This is a great card, hey? I like this one. So decision. And then we already saw this one. That's the evolve card. Okay. And then we have Earth. And the Earth suit is a bit darker colors. We begin with the tangible. And for me, this is very much a suit of integration to understand. The second part is manifestation, right? So in this suit, our actions, our understandings, our inspiration, we now find in this physical world groundedness and ancestry. So there's a few different cards that have strands of DNA on them, and those would beautifully connect together in a reading. Of course, we have an abundance card in this suit and nurture. So that feels very Queen of Pentacles. Expansion. Now, connecting to the planets, you may feel the Jupiter energy in another card. Yeah, this is a great card of possibilities, connecting to many, many layers of the tarot. Architecture. So doesn't that feel a lot like an RWS, Three of Pentacles? It's like it's a very matchy. Yes. Now this is one that I have a hard time with. I think I would put this in the suit of fire. The suit of fire, because the whole idea of discipline is about action, right? And there's this yogic concept called tapas. So I'm not sure that I would put this one here. Scarcity. So that feels very Five of Pentacles, and it almost looks very Five of Pentacles with the statuary, the Mother Mary kind of image. And then we have growth. So there is a growth card and there is an expansion card. And then we have greed and values. Interesting, hey? Really interesting. Wow. Okay. I'm just thinking of so many possibilities here. All right, and the last suit is ether. So the ether suit begins with soul journey and ends with ascension with the Merkaba. So that's crazy. Hey? So that's amazing. I love that. It's from soul journey to ascension. And then we have lots of great cards here. We have quintessence and the prism. Illumination. Ouroboros. So you can feel like the energy of the suit is it's pretty high frequency. She called this the observer. I actually would call this the witness. Maybe because I'm a yogi. Etheric body. Mandorla. So this is a great card. This card connects us very, of course, to the Mandorla of the world card, but also to the intersection of the divine masculine and feminine, perhaps in the Lover's card or the Temperance card or other cards of union in the tarot. So this is a super card. She does refer to the Vesica Pisces as well and all the different names that this union goes by. We have enigmatic. So beautiful. Taurus. Deity. And mana. And for those of you that are in the Tarot Through the Chakras 2 class, this is the word that I was trying to remember. We were talking about the Amrit that drips from the Bindu chakra, and I was thinking about the Christian context of mana. So yeah, so this is your ether suit. Yeah. Okay, so I am going to do a 3-card reading for you, but I just want to show you one more thing. We also have significator cards. in this deck. So you could decide, you could focus your reading based on what your, I don't know, choosing one of these as a significator. And I think this is very clever. I do work with significators, and I find that to bring tremendous focus to readings. And these metaphors, the significators, are great. The Healing Light Tarot is based on mandalas. Oh, I didn't know that. I'm just looking at this one too here, Donna. Perhaps. Yes, I get that. That's why we do this in a chat, so we can share conversation. Okay. So what I'm going to do is to shuffle, and I'm going to draw one oracle card and then pull out the tarot deck, and we will do a reading. I'm just going to grab my moon journal. Today is the 13th day of May, 2022. It is Friday the 13th. The moon is in Libra. And the moon went trine with, is that Saturn? This morning. Okay. This is a reading for the collective on this 13th day of May, 2022. Helping us to focus energy for the day, the weekend ahead. Help us to bring focus and vision to whatever it is we are working through or working on. And as always, we ask these messages be in the highest for the greatest good, and that no harm be done. Okay, so our oracle message is inspiration. And I have to laugh out loud, ha, 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 ha. I just did a reading for myself, and the first card I pulled was the Ace of Wands. And I don't know if you have been following me, but we've been having a lot of Ace of Wands energy show up lately. So what does this mean for you? It means that we need to get going and listen, and it's time to unearth some, I feel like we lose faith in ourselves sometimes, that we have the ability to carry through with dreams or projects. And the amount of, I'm actually going to share you the second card that I pulled for myself. So the second card I pulled was the Knight of Discs. And one of the things that really struck me, and I know this might not be built into the energy of this card, but what I saw in the background was this enormous mountain that had to be climbed. And I thought, it's, if I can carry my torch and continue to carry my torch, it's through the flame, it's through the passion, it's through inspiration, through an acknowledgement of my own dharma, that I will be able to continue up the mountain to my path. And, this is my path. So there have been so many, many synchronicities with Ace of Wands energy, inspiration energy. So I really want to encourage you to stay with it. Stay with it. I'm going to pull 2 tarot cards from the Journey of the Sacred Bee Tarot by Kelly Burton. Okay. Wealth. So this is the 10 of Discs. Is that not a great card to go with this one? And the Star. Okay, if this doesn't give you inspiration, I don't know what will. That's pretty amazing. Ah, wow. The influence. Hmm. I think that one of the greatest, one of the most important things here is that we get really clear on our intention. And it's funny, I just said this earlier today. If our words match our actions, then things will flow more smoothly and more easily. So it's really, and I was just thinking about the energy here, the astrological energy. So it's really important to get clear on that. And if we get clear, and you can't get any more clearer than the star card. The star card is one of setting forth on a whole new path and a whole new journey. And you know how much I love this deck. And one of the things about the star card I often think about is the North Star. And we see all of this cosmic energy here. Um, I won't keep you much longer, but I really want to pull this card. It's such an important card. So in the Wildwood Tarot, we see the Fool. So the Fool is emerging again and heading out into the forest on this long journey, following the North Star, following this cosmic, powerful cosmic energy. So I want you to trust. I want you to trust that you know exactly where you're going, and this to to quite literally follow the light. But we need to hold that torch up and keep the torch lit. So I guess it's a matter of how we're going to do that. Hmm. So beautiful. Yes, Tree of Life, 10 of Discs. Anything is possible. Everything is possible. Let's change that. Everything is possible. Yeah, beautiful. All right. Well, thank you all for hanging out with me today, and I hope this deck gives you some inspiration. Or and if you follow me, I'll make sure that I post in my on my community page when I'm going to be talking with the creator of this deck. And I look forward to seeing you all very soon. I'll see some of you on Tuesday for Lenormand, if not for live readings. Namaste, everybody. Have a lovely weekend.